So first up, just a day before Karnataka goes into polls, the big point of contention continues to be reservation. Now, in a blistering attack on the Congress party in Karnataka and overall in the country, Prime Minister has claimed that the Congress has transferred the reservation quota from backward classes to Muslims in Karnataka, and they'll probably implement what has been happening there across the country. He further says that there is a possibility that this is not going to be limited just to the state of Karnataka, that the Congress could implement this across the country. First, let's listen to what he said.
धार्मिक तुष्टीकरण को मोहरा बना रहे हैं। साथियों, कर्नाटका में कांग्रेस सरकार का राज है और उन्होंने क्या पाप किया है, आप हैरान हो जाओगे। उस ओबीसी समाज में इतने सारे नए डाल दिए कि ओबीसी समाज को जो आरक्षण मिलता था वो उनसे छीन लिया, चोरी छुपी से छीन लिया, और जो मुसलमानों को नया ओबीसी बना दिया था, गैर कानूनी तरीके से बना दिया था, संविधान के विपरीत बना दिया था, बाबा साहब आंबेडकर की भावना के विरुद्ध बना दिया था, उस मुस्लिम समाज को ओबीसी को जो मिलता था वो लूट करके उनको दे दिया।
Meanwhile, this of course we were expecting a response to come in from Karnataka, and the Chief Minister himself defended the allocation of 4% reservation for Muslims within the backward classes category in Karnataka, stating that this has been in place for over 2 decades. He also goes on to say that the BJP under the Bommai regime went to the apex court, tried to, cancel that and give it to the Vokkaligas and the Lingayats. But what happened in the court, he says in turn, the court slammed them, and eventually the BJP had to file an affidavit, he claims, that they will continue with the 4% reservation for Muslims. Let's listen to what he said.
Nodri, 4% reservation ittalla sumaru more than 20 years inda 28 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇತ್ತು. 94ನೇ ಇಸ್ವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾರಿಗೆ ಬಂತು. ಚಿನ್ನಪ್ಪ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ವರದಿ, ಚಿನ್ನಪ್ಪ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಆಯೋಗ ಶಿಫಾರಸು ಮಾಡಿತ್ತು ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರಿಗೆ 4% ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಕಳೆದ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಬಸವರಾಜ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿ ಅವರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದಾಕಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋದರು. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾವು ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ಹಾಗೆ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ 4% ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಿಜೆಪಿಯವರೇ ಅಂಡರ್ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ये सच्चाई है। देश को आज मालूम करना चाहिए किस प्रकार से आप षड्यंत्र करते रहते हैं, ओबीसी के विरोध करते रहे, एससी के, एसटी के, इनके संसाधन जो विचारों ने बड़ी मुश्किल से आगे बढ़ने का काम किया, उनको लूटकर मुस्लिमों को देने का काम करते हैं। अगर ओबीसी के इतने हितैषी हैं तो आयोग क्यों नहीं बनाया आपने? क्यों नहीं उनकी चिंता की अभी तक? अभी तक तो आप बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते रहे कि कानून उनको जो मिलना चाहिए वो कभी भी कोई काम नहीं किया है। और ये सही बात है कि आज एससी, एसटी, ओबीसी को जो थोड़ा उनका जीवन स्तर बढ़ा है और सरकारी योजना के माध्यम से उनका आगे बढ़ने का काम कर रहे हैं, उनको लूटने का काम ये करते हैं। ये चाहते हैं गरीब गरीबी रहना चाहिए ताकि हम गरीबी हटाओ का नारा देकर सत्ता में बने रहें।
To understand really the present political turbulence on the issue, one needs to go back into the past as well. It was in 1977, viewers, that an order was first issued to include Muslims in the backward class quota. This was based on the 1975 report. Nearly 2 decades later, in 1994, Veerappa Moily-led Congress government put in place the 4% quota, which has of course become the eye of the political storm now in 2024. In 2023, before the assembly elections, the BJP-led Basavaraj Bommai government removed or attempted to remove the 4% reservations allocated to the Muslims and decided that they will split it. 2% to the Vokkaliga community, 2% to the Lingayats. The scrapping of the 4% reservation, of course, was challenged in the Supreme Court. The state had then given an assurance to the court that it would not scrap the reservation and that the earlier policy would continue until further order. So the matter at this point in time remains in the court. So what is all the drama now and the fuss about is the question. And is right now a fear or rather an apprehension that's being pointed out by the Prime Minister about the Congress probably implementing it in other states. Is this something that is even possible? Dr. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda of the BJP is with us today. Dr. Nikul Patel, political analyst, joining us today. Abdul Razack Khan, political analyst, also with us. Vijay Grover, senior journalist, joining us today on the broadcast. I'll open this up with Mr. Abdul Razack Khan. Mr. Abdul, when you look at, the Prime Minister express an apprehension like this, he's pointing at, well, I do agree this is not a new issue. The BJP governments haven't done anything for many years about this and it's being raked up at such a time. I will ask the BJP this question, but the question that I'd like to ask you, as far as reservation is concerned, the idea, of course, was always to uplift a particular community, socially backward, economically backward, educationally backward. That is the idea of reservation. But when you give a blanket reservation, that is something that even the NCBC has really raised some objections to. How do you really view this debate right now going forward, especially with the elections around the corner?
Deepak, for somebody to apply under category 2B, he has to bring in some set of documents. The first document that would be asked is an income certificate of any student aspiring to become an engineer or maybe for a seat or maybe somebody trying to get into any government job. His economic condition would be valued by an affidavit. He has to give an income certificate. So those Muslims who are economically weaker are the ones who get chance to go and apply under category 2B. Now, my question to Mr. Modi is that, that Mr. Modi who speaks so much about the welfare of Muslim
let's not confuse
women
it.
when he abolished the triple talaq.
Category 3 is what really all the economically backward classes really come under 3. No, but let's have clarity as to what all comes under 2A or 2B. Let's not just say only the ones who are going ahead and giving these income certificates are enjoying that.
Now, Deepak, let me tell you, those people who are really backward would definitely need to come up. They have to be given some kind of quota. Should that mean that Muslims are not at all given any kind of reservation? Should not be given any reservation? Should Muslims not be given reservation? What about Sajjar Committee's report? Now, this 4% that was given, that was also given by Mr. Reddy's commission. So why did these commissions were, these commissions were made only to find out whether there are Muslim, community people who fall under this economically weaker sections, socially backward sections. Yes, they said that these Muslims are behind SCSTs and other OBCs. That was the reason why this was included. Moreover, this was included by Mr. Deve Gowda's government in 1995. My question to the Prime Minister, Deepak ji, is very important today. He who speaks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, he who speaks about Muslims, Paspanda Muslims, why is he up in arms against Muslims today? Very close to elections, why is he against the Muslims? Look at the reference given. He is addressing Muslims as infiltrators. He is addressing Muslims as people who produce more children. Is he, is it, for the chief prime minister to speak like this about Muslims?
Mr.
Razack
Khan, the question here is, you are talking about how, the community, large number of people are economically backward. Now, what about the entire debate that comes up that why not probably find some solace under the EWS quota?
No, that would be a long, big bracket, right? Under the 10%, there would be a lot of contenders. We, the Muslims, want separate reservation for us. We are actually asking to increase this to 7%. You are telling not even 4%. Now, on the last day of the assembly dissolution of Mr. Bommai, he steals the 4% from Muslims, gives it to Vakkaligas and Lingayats. Is that not appeasement? Is that not appeasement? Is it true on Mr. Modi's part to go ahead and say that the Congress has stolen from other backwards and given to Muslims? Is this true? Wherever he is going, he is only blatantly, openly telling lies to the people of this nation. Whichever campaign you pick up, he says that the Congress wants to steal away your gold, steal away your Mangal Sutra. But the actual thing is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi wanted to do justice with the 90% poor of this country. I mean, why is the Prime Minister lying so much? Is he sure
Okay,
that
let
the
me bring in the
BJP is definitely going
BJP.
to
Respond,
lose this?
Dr. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda. You have two aspects to respond to. One, of course, some of the charges that Mr. Abdul Razack is making. But the other aspect is, what has the BJP done? You had the government under Mr. Yediyurappa. The issue was not raised. There was a government under Mr. Sadananda Gowda. It was not raised. Under Mr. Shettar, was not raised. You under Bommai, under Mr. Yediyurappa, again not raised. Towards the end of your government going ahead and making this decision half-hearted, then the court, of course,
On the
stalling it
last
because it was
day.
not properly well thought of. Okay, hold on. Let her respond.
Thank you, Deepak. The Congress government and its tall leaders have always been resorting to appeasement politics. Now, again, their intention to give 4% reservation to Muslims under the head of and taking it off from the OBC quota will only deprive OBC community of their reservation. It will only deprive of their right. See, the Siddaramaiah has always boasted himself as he is the leader of Ahinda. He is the leader of Ahinda. See, if at all, if it tries to pluck it away from the OBC quota, it will only do lots of injustice to this OBC community. You always claim them as the vote bank. How will they think about him? Or what justification you would like to give? And for their information, it was Mr.
Well,
Devegowda
but
who
Dr.
has
Lakshmi
intimated
Ashwin Gowda, what are you referring to? Because let me make this very clear to our viewers that this is not an issue of today we are talking about. A Karnataka government here, the Congress hasn't taken any decision yesterday. It hasn't taken any decision in the last 1 year. This is something that has been happening in Karnataka for about 30 years. Now, last time, ahead of the assembly elections, it was raised up by the Karnataka BJP. Now, nationally, the BJP is raising this issue that there could be a similar situation across the country. Now, the question I'm asking you is, if it is such a problem, I'm not going to get into the debate here of whether you think that the 4% the Muslims should enjoy or the, Congress thinking that they should. I'm not going to get into that. Simple debate is, why does this aspect only come into the fore when the elections are around the corner, when you have series of governments where you could have really done something about it, debated it in the House, in the Assembly, or in the Parliament? It's probably not come up at all.
Whenever they raise their voice against this justification, and whenever they raise voice against the appeasement politics, we have to talk about all these things, right? We have to justify our stand, right? See, what was he doing all these days? One day before the election, if he is uttering these words that he is doing the appeasement politics, but he has done very less about the Muslim people. He has kept them. I would like to ask Mr. Abdul Razack, what Congress government has made to the Muslims of this very country? Didn't the same Congress government has kept them under the perpetual poverty, perpetual penury? Just they are seeking as the subjects of their vote banks, right? They've never done anything about it. But it is our Modi government who has done empowering things to the Muslim females. We have abolished the triple talaq. By doing that, we have empowered the Muslim women. It is a complete empowerment to them. And we have given education and we have given scholarships. We have tried our level best, and we have launched welfareistic schemes to lift them out of the poverty line. In that regard, about 8 crore Muslim people have come above the poverty line. It is to their knowledge. What did Congress government did about this to Muslim people, to the very vote bank? Time and again they've been talking about them. Time and again they're talking about the
your argument is coming to the fore on one perspective. It's on the Congress, but you're not giving me a reasonable answer to the question that I asked about the role of the BJP apart from the time of the elections. I'll also bring in here Mr. Dr. Nikul Patel. Dr. Patel, your take on this entire controversy and how it's panning out.
Whenever any government is there, its prime responsibility is the upliftment of all the section of the society. And now when we see, when we get independent scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, where the section, they were really socially backward, and we provide, government provide them reservations, right? So now when it comes to economical weaker section, OBC was implemented, and we know that how it is based on income-based reservation, because the people who are not having income must get definitely chances to education as well as government jobs. Now, when it comes to Karnataka specifically, we found that initially the Devegowda government passed one resolution in the Vidhan Sabha, and then it was implemented through all this process. Now, when it comes to BJP, I think that Honorable Prime Minister always wants to bring Muslim card into the election, and that is how they want to. He wants to target Congress as well as India Alliance. That these people are just making the policies which are against Hindu, and that is how he wants to portray the entire image. So that is not actually correct. And if really our Honorable Prime Minister understands the entire topic what is happening in the Karnataka, I think he might have not said this. If Bharatiya Janata Party government was there for long, if they must have withdrawn this reservation by passing an appropriate law into the Vidhan Sabha, then this must have not happened, but it is continuing since long. And finally, when it was Karnataka Vidhan Sabha election, they want to withdraw it as a part of manifesto or just want to get the votes. I think Supreme Court denied, and now what Siddaramaiah said is correct, that we are not going to touch it unless and until Supreme Court some says. So overall here, if I see, Bharatiya Janata Party must realize that don't try to play Muslim card in their campaigning, and this is what is happening. You must realize what is the requirement of the people of the country, especially when it comes to Karnataka. BJP government is really serious about it, then they must have taken decisions, but they are not taking. They are just playing the game of obtaining votes of majority of this country.
Okay, well, let's bring in Mr. Grover as well. He's been patiently listening to most of you all who've given a strong political perspective to this. Mr. Grover, when you rationally think about this, this is something that we've debated probably a year ago. It's coming back with the Lok Sabha elections around the corner, Mr. Grover. But when you look at these sort of apprehensions being raised by the Prime Minister, how do you really see it seep into the minds of the citizens in the country?
Well, Deepak, just before coming to your show, I was listening to an old interview of Mr. Modi with Smita Prakash, where he justified that there are 70 sub-communities of the Muslim community in Gujarat for whom he is ensured that they are a part of the reservation. So I was a little confused after hearing today's speech and also the old speech part of his interview as to which is the real Mr. Modi, who's or what does he represent? Clearly, when
Okay, we seem to have lost your line there, Mr. Grover. While I give you time to fix that, we should note now, while we're of course debating the entire OBC quota and the Muslim quota and all of this, Mr. Revanth Reddy has come in and said, well, probably the BJP will remove quota system overall. While Mr. Rahul Gandhi says the first thing that they're going to do is do a caste census. So it seems to be like, the promises that are being made, or at least the allegations that are being made, are quite poles apart. Because we were just talking about the ongoing issue about quota for Muslims, about the allegations that have been coming from the Prime Minister, the defense from the Congress, amid the ongoing face-off that's going on. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy has accused the BJP of planning to scrap reservation for marginalized communities by 2025, coinciding with the 100th year of the RSS. Reddy also stated that the BJP had previously halted the implementation of the Mandal Commission report, which proposed reservations for backward classes. Reddy went a step further and alleged that BJP's 400 par goal was an attempt to have enough numbers in the parliament to scrap quotas for SC, ST and backward communities. Let's listen to what he said.
RSS యొక్క భావజాలము బీజేపీ యొక్క విధానము ఈ దేశంలో ఉన్న రిజర్వేషన్లను రద్దు చేయడమే. వాళ్ళ ఆఖరి యుద్ధం ప్రకటించారు ఈ రాజ్యాంగం మీద. ఆ ఆఖరి యుద్ధమే ఎస్సీ ఎస్టీ ఓబీసీ రిజర్వేషన్ల రద్దు. ఈ ఎస్సీ ఎస్టీ ఓబీసీ రిజర్వేషన్లు రద్దు చేయాలంటే 400 సీట్లు కావాలి, 2/3 మెజారిటీతోని లోక్సభ రాజ్యసభలో ఈ బిల్లును ఆమోదింపజేసి అన్ని రాష్ట్రాల మీద ఒత్తిడి తీసుకొచ్చి రిజర్వేషన్లను రద్దు చేయడానికి భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీ కుట్ర చేస్తుంది.
Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah has claimed that the BJP will scrap the Muslim quota once voted to power and promised that the 4% of the quota will be given to the SC/ST community.
मुस्लिम रिजर्वेशन जो यहाँ पर टीआरएस और कांग्रेस ने किया है, हम उसको समाप्त कर एससी, एसटी और ओबीसी का रिजर्वेशन करने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी करेगी, ये हमने तय किया है.
Well, now going back to our guests, of course, who've been with us, Dr. Abdul Razack, how do you look at the situation? On one hand, you have what's happening in Karnataka, the charges and the counter charges. Now, an entirely new issue is being raised by Mr. Revanth Reddy, and Mr. Amit Shah says, well, that 4% will be scrapped there. Of course, it didn't happen like they planned in Karnataka, but they also say that it's probably an idea that they have coming into Telangana. Mr. Abdul Razack Khan? Looks like you're on mute, Mr. Razack. Okay, I before I come to Mr. Razack, let me also bring in Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel, your take on this?
I just repeat the question. I didn't get it.
No, you just heard what Mr. Revanth Reddy said. You heard what the Union Home Minister said. They had, of course, planned to scrap 4% reservation. Now he says even in Telangana, what exists there, the BJP will scrap it.
See, if we see the administration of BJP, we find that almost all government jobs are not being filled and they are being to the contractual appointments. That is what we feel in the Gujarat model. And that is why reservations are not being implemented, and in contractual appointment also there is no reservation. I think Revanth Reddy views of not giving or scrapping the reservation may be correct at some point of time, but as Amit Shah rightly said that they want to give SC, ST and OBC, but SC, ST, OBC reservations are already being implemented by the Congress government since long. I still surprised that what he wants to give more. But over here, Revanth Reddy had shown his view regarding scrapping of reservation, but not in the direct way. He wants to convey that indirectly, slow and steady reservation is being removed from all government jobs.
Okay. Dr. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda, when you have the Chief Minister of a state go on to say that the BJP probably has plans to, remove the quota system overall. Now, how do you respond to a statement like that?
When the elections are the very next day, they're so scared of utterly losing the elections, like the length and breadth of a country. So they're making all these baseless and ridiculous statements about the BJP government. When the Narendra Modi-led BJP government has done maximum welfareism to the Muslim women and to the Muslim community in general, and they themselves hailed Narendra Modi-led BJP government for giving them gas connections under Ujjwala scheme, for giving them tap water connections, for giving them insurance, health insurance cover under Ayushman Bharat, for giving them food security under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. They are the maximum beneficiaries. When we have done maximum things to the Muslim community and to uplift them out of the poverty line, these Congress people, time and again, they are resorting to, and they have been doing appeasement politics since decades. And they've done what they have done to the Muslim community. I would like to ask this to Abdul Razack. And spreading the false rumors about scrapping the reservation itself is a scrap. When we are doing, when we are designing welfareistic schemes, when we are decided to take the whole country holistically together, scrapping the reservation to all together is a scrap. It's a false rumor, and people are watching their duality of their character, splitting personalities of the Congress and the Congress leaders.
Okay, Mr. Abdul Razack Khan, apart from what Mr. Revanth Reddy said, and that, overall the BJP has plans to not give reservation to marginalized communities at all. Mr. Amit Shah's statement there in Telangana that they want to actually remove the 4%. I was just asking that question when we lost your audio there. But another big thing that the BJP and several people keep saying is probably the Congress has time and again used a community, the Muslim community in particular, just for the sake of their vote bank. They haven't really uplifted the community in all these years, in terms of education, in terms of providing them employment opportunities. This has not been done. The plan is to provide this sort of reservation to keep them in the position they are without growth, because at the end of the day, they'll continue to back the Congress. What do you make, or what is your response to a charge like this that keeps coming in from the BJP and many others?
Look, Deepak, when it comes to elections, a prime minister has to take everybody into confidence, certain sect of BJP people openly say we don't want Muslim votes. Today, sitting here on this channel, BJP spokesperson asking why, Muslims, what has been done by Congress to Muslims. I mean, it cannot be an answer just like that. I mean, the other communities have grown the same way the Muslims have also grown. The other communities are still backward. Even the Muslim communities, some sections are still backward. The other communities are economically weaker. Even Muslims are economically weaker. I am saying today, कांग्रेस ने आरक्षण छीन के गैर कानूनी तरीके से आपका आरक्षण छीन के मुसलमानों को दे दिया. Is it true what Mr. Modi is claiming today? Is it true what Mr. Modi is saying that कर्नाटक में कांग्रेस ने आपका आरक्षण छीन के गैर कानूनी तरीके से मुसलमानों को दे दिया? Is that true? What Mr. Bommai did, Mr. Basavaraj Bommai, he took away the 4% reservation of the Muslims and he gave it to Vakkaligas and Lingayats. That is what the BJP did. But the Prime Minister is saying that the Congress did this. You know what I'm saying today? If you look at all the reports of all the commissions have recommended that the Muslims should be uplifted. There are Muslims who are economically weaker, who are socially backward. They have to be uplifted. So today, Mr. Modi talking like this, it doesn't suit his position. He speaks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So today I would like to ask the BJP spokesperson who's asking me, what has Congress done to you in the past 70 years? I would like to ask her, what has BJP done for we Muslims? They have only bulldozed our houses, pointed their fingers at our madrasas. All, our eating habits, our wearing habits, everything is a thorn in their eye. Whatever a Muslim does is a thorn in their eye. They want to speak against Muslims, consolidate the Hindu vote and win the election.
Let me bring her in and ask her to respond to what you say.
Hindu vote.
See, if Abdul Razack
Okay, let her
is
respond
not
to what
ready
you said,
to
Mr.
accept
Razack.
the fact that they are still lagging behind, they are still marginalized, they are still economically weaker, societally weaker, who will raise their voice on the behalf of the Muslim people? See,
All
if your
other
people are
communities as
becoming
well.
the subjects of their Muslim appeasement policy, you will be the subjects
Madam,
to their
forget what Congress
plans.
has
You
done.
will
Tell
never
me
ever-
what Mr.
you will
Modi
never
has
ever
done.
prosper,
You
will
had
never
10
ever
long years. You
when
speak about
Modi ji
Sabka Saath,
government
Sabka
has
Vikas.
designed the
Tell me
welfareistic
what has
scheme
Modi done to
to
Muslims.
uplift Yuva women, to empower Muslim women, to give them education, to give them
Okay.
social empowerment, to give them political
Okay,
empowerment,
and
to give them
on one
political
hand, Mr. Razak,
people
Mr.
are
Razak
not
said
ready
that
to
the
accept
community
that
also has
You are
been
still in
growing.
the
On the other
Kuru
hand, he also says that the reservation in the same way still that is needed for the community. Well, this tutu meh will continue and it's poll season. Mr. Grover, earlier we couldn't hear you. Hopefully now your network has been fixed. If you could, continue to tell us this and put this into perspective really as to how this issue can be resolved amicably, or can it even be, or is it too complex in a country like India with so many communities, castes and subcastes?
Well, see, Deepak, the politicians will remember all these things at election time and will certainly try to, point fingers at each other. That's something which is very unfortunate. The fact that the Muslim community has not grown either in the Congress regime or the BJP regime is very visible. I had, in fact, done an earlier investigation for a print magazine and had found at that time in Kalburgi, which was represented then by Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the utilization of the minority funds was the lowest in his constituency. This is something where, every political party does lip service for everybody and actually is not seriously focused on what they've done. The BJP now spokesperson was talking about triple talaq, but what percentage of women stand to benefit from triple talaq? Because that's not something that's happening in every 10th household, or it's something which is very common. It's a rare opportunity which happens in 1 lakh families or something kind of thing. But the fact is, economic empowerment is something which needs to be done, and you cannot alienate a community just by saying that, just because the Congress didn't do anything for the Muslims, the BJP is not bound to do it, or, is not a thing. As I was telling earlier, I am surprised and want to know which is the real face of Mr. Modi, who did it for 70 minority communities in the Muslim community in Gujarat. And why does he have a problem today if the same thing is happening over here? And once again, the issue that we are discussing is actually sub judice. There's no decision which has come from the Supreme Court on this, and that's something which is pending. Supreme Court, in another judgment on Telangana, If you remember,
Yes, of course, this matter, like you mentioned, Mr.
Like-
Grover, as far as what the Karnataka BJP tried to do, it has gone to court. Now Mr. Amit Shah has raked that up in Telangana. This debate, of course, is going to continue. But the role of each and every government is to ensure that any community which is
very
marginalized, which is
unfortunate
not
that
able
people
to
are
bring
being
itself
targeted for
up
political
on
gain.
its own, the government, of course, should do it. But also questions arise whether, reservation should be given based on religions, whether it should be like a blanket reservation, should there be more channels involved? These are questions, of course, that come up. The court as well has got involved, so probably we'll look at a legal battle as well in the coming days. Meanwhile, I'm thanking all our panelists for joining us.